In this video, I'm going to explain the process of gametogenesis in humans. So before we go ahead, what do you understand by gametogenesis? If you break the word gameto and genesis, gameto meaning related to gametes, the sex cells, the sperms and the eggs, and genesis means formation. So gametogenesis simply means formation of gametes. Now we know gamete formation takes place in the primary reproductive organs, right? The primary reproductive organ in male is the testes and in females it is the ovaries. So gametogenesis occurs in the testes and the ovaries in males and females respectively. Now under gametogenesis you have two types of processes that occur in the males and females separately. So one is the spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis occurs in the males, whereas the other one is the oogenesis, which occurs in the females. So spermatogenesis is the process of formation of sperms, and oogenesis is the process of formation of ova or the egg. So spermatogenesis occurs where? It occurs in the testes. That's right. And oogenesis occurs in the ovary. Let us start with spermatogenesis. Now, for convenience, the entire process of spermatogenesis can be divided into three phases. I'm going to mention the phases here. First phase is the multiplication phase. I'm going to explain all the processes that take place in each of these phases with a diagram. The second phase is the growth phase. And the third phase is maturation phase. Alright, so these are the three phases in which the entire process of spermatogenesis takes place. Now, just to remind you all, spermatogenesis occurs in the testes, and where exactly in the testes? It occurs in the seminiferous tubules. And there are these cells that line the seminiferous tubules. Those cells are called as cuboidal germinal epithelial cells. And those germinal epithelial cells are also called as primordial cells, as they undergo meiosis to give rise to the sperms. So we call them as primordial cells or primordial germ cells. So I'm going to show the diagram here. Starting with the primordial germ cell. So let's assume that this is a primordial germ cell. All right, I'm going to write that here, primordial cell, and this primordial cell is diploid, that is, it is 2n. It has two complete sets of chromosome. Now this primordial germ cell is basically the cell of seminiferous tubule, the cells that line the seminiferous tubule. Now this undergoes mitotic division or mitosis to produce large number of spermatogonia. So I'm going to show that here. Let's say this cell undergoes repeated mitotic divisions, and there are 4 new cells formed, and they are called as spermatogonia. I'm going to write that here, spermatogonia. Now spermatogonia would obviously be diploid, as this is mitotic division, right? So it is going to be diploid. So I'm going to write here mitosis. This is mitosis. And which phase is this? Yes, this is the first phase, the multiplication phase. I'm going to write number 1 here so that you can relate to which phase I'm talking about. So number 1 here means it is the first phase, that is multiplication phase. So what happens in multiplication phase? Simply the primordial germ cell of the seminiferous tubule undergoes repeated mitotic divisions to give rise to large number of cells called as spermatogonia, and they are all diploid as it is mitotic division. Now comes the second phase, in which what happens is some of the spermatogonium, they grow by accumulating food, and they are now called as, let me just write that down here, they are now called as primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte. Alright. And primary spermatocyte would obviously be diploid again, because it is the same cell of spermatogonium, but now it has enlarged because of accumulation of food. So this is nothing but your second phase, which is the growth phase. I'm going to write that here. So this phase where the spermatogonium increases in size by accumulation of food is your second phase. I'm going to write that as number 2. So you will be able to relate that it is the growth phase. Now comes the third phase, the maturation phase, where meiotic division takes place. So what happens is the primary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis. Let me show that here. So the primary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis 1 first, as we know that meiosis consists of 2 divisions. The cell division occurs twice. So this is meiosis 1, right? And these are now called as secondary spermatocyte. The primary spermatocyte, when they undergo meiosis 1, now these cells formed after meiosis 1 will be called as secondary spermatocyte. And now secondary spermatocyte will further undergo meiosis 2, right? This will be meiosis 2, where the cells now formed, there are 4 new cells formed. Alright, and all new 4 cells are called as spermatids. These are called as spermatids. And now these spermatids are going to be haploid, right? Because we know that during meiosis, it is a reductional type of division. So the ploidy level, right from diploid, it is now going to be haploid. So the spermatids are haploid. Now the process does not complete here. The maturation phase has not ended here as yet because the spermatozoa are not formed yet. So what happens is spermatids now undergo another process which is called as spermiogenesis, wherein they will now form spermatozoa. So these spermatids, what happens is these spermatids are actually non-functional and non-motile. So they acquire certain changes in their structure and function, and they now become spermatozoa. These are the final spermatozoa that are formed in spermatogenesis. So these are spermatozoa. Of course, the spermatozoa are going to be haploid, right? And the process of formation of spermatozoa to form the process of formation of spermatozoa from the spermatids is called as spermiogenesis. I'm going to write that here, spermiogenesis. And this phase, this entire phase, right from meiotic division, where the meiotic division starts, that will be counted as your maturation phase. Let me show that here in yellow color so that it will be easier for you to identify the 3 phases. Alright, so that was all about spermatogenesis.